Hello. I will talk about the 2011 Van earthquake that occurred on 23rd of October in eastern part of Turkey. So Van earthquake in 2011 was the most significant earthquake following the 1999 Marmara earthquake, which is a threshold and milestone in disaster risk management and earthquake studies in Turkey. So it became a kind of a test to see if the financial system is the construction sector or the education sector, all other relevant sectors, if they are really prepared against any seismic risk, if they have any precautions and preparedness mitigation strategies in application, implementation, following the experience of 1999 earthquake. So 2011 one earthquake became a test point for the earthquake risk in it occurred in the city of Van, which is a very important geopolitical location because it is very close to the Iranian border on the east and it's very close to the Iraq border on the south. So it is a hub for the area to open to the outside world at the national level and international level. There have been the city itself is very old, dating back to 5000 BC. So there have been many civilizations which was settled in the city of Van. So it is historical, it is touristic, it is cultural. There is trade, commerce, there's education. There's a lot to dig in and investigate in the city of Van. So as I said, the one city is important geopolitically and on the other perspectives, and it is located next to the Van Lake, the Lake of Van, which is the largest lake. It's a saline soda lake, so the water itself is different than the other lakes in Turkey. So it is kind of a sea resort for the local inhabitants of the city of Van. And you can see it is very famous with the cat breed. It's called special. It's a special breed. It's called the Van cat, and there's a productions reproductivity center within the university that is in Van, the biological sciences department, because it's a special breed. The one earthquake occurred on a Sunday in an afternoon at almost 2 p.m. local time with a magnitude 7.2 in Richter scale. So the epicenter is, you can see from the red star, that is the epicenter of the first earthquake. And the city has approximately a 1 million population, inhabitants. And if you look at the table on the right hand side, that's the chronological order of the data that where we can reach to the earthquake data in the past of the city. So it is not something new to the local inhabitants of Van. And the most significant one before the 2011 earthquake occurred in 35 years back. That was back in 1976. So I was born like 4 or 5 months roughly after this date. So back in 1976, the last significant one happened in Van with a magnitude again more than 7, and there was really quite significant damage considering the conditions 35 years ago. So because the city is located in the eastern part of Turkey, there's harsh and heavy winter conditions observed during the winter period. And again, this earthquake back in 1976 occurred in November, and that one occurred in October. So again, it is the winter period for the eastern part of the country because it gets really cold. So what changed in the chronological order with the city with an experience of and damage of earthquakes? What changed in time? That is what we wanted to investigate, and we had a reconnaissance field trip one one city following the earthquake. So, what is specific to the one earthquake that occurred in 2011, back roughly 10 years back from today? So, in number one, the first earthquake occurred on 23rd of October, and there was a second earthquake 2 weeks after that occurred on 9th of November. So these are two separate earthquakes, not aftershocks. But what happened with the slight damage or moderate damage buildings with the first earthquake? some of them collapsed in the second earthquake. So 2 weeks ahead, two separate earthquakes. That what makes it one of the unique earthquakes that Turkey experienced. So with the field trip, the aim, purpose of the field trip was to observe the jurisdictional system, to observe the financial impact, to observe the administration process, how earthquakes was managed, operational wise, preparedness wise, response wise, and recovery wise. And we wanted to see what other type of intervention has been conducted after an earthquake. And we had a multidisciplinary team. We traveled to the region 1 month, 1 month after the first earthquake, because we didn't go there for search and rescue purposes. We wanted to observe with an academic perspective, and we arrived city on November 25th, 2011, and we stayed 2 nights in the city. And we took some photos, of course. These are copyright to the authors. So black and white photos have been taken by a civil engineer who was a very fresh academician back in 1976. So he visited the city after the 1976 earthquake and took these photos, which are in black and white color here. And 35 years later, we took the colored photos. Which shows a very similar type of damage to us. If you look at the bottom left black and white picture and the one in the middle, it is a very similar type of building, most probably a school, a very similar type of construction, the number of the stories, the type of the construction, everything looks very similar. On the upper part, on the top order, the ones on the one on the left hand side, the black and white one, and the one which is colored in the middle. So they again, it was a health center in a village, and it showed a similar type of damage as well. So what we observed, like just with a very naked eye, 35 years, nothing has been. So these are some photos from the Erciş town, which is a District 01, and the main earthquake, the first earthquake on 23rd of October, which occurred. It is these are the most of the town looked like this. So there was total collapse, and the rubble was not still removed after 1 month following the earthquake. So again, copyright to the authors. We were very much sad and shocked and impressed with the level of the damage and the quality of the buildings. And because one reason why we were shocked and surprised is in the city planning of one before 1976. If you remember the chronological order of the earthquake I showed on the very first slides, so the city planners, the administration, the law told not to build any construction near to the lake because of the liquefaction factor. But nobody cared about the liquefaction risk, and there were buildings constructed on top of the land where the law says you cannot build any construction, any building, anything on here. But on the contrary, the contractors built apartment blocks, which is a very typical living conditions areas dwellings in the Turkish lifestyle. So most of the collapses occurred on the right hand side of the road. The road splits the town into two. The ones near to the lake, on the lake side, where the law says don't build anything and no construction at all, they collapsed, and most of the casualties came from those building collapses. On the left side of the road, where the construction, the same companies, similar type of construction, but on the same left hand side of the road, towards the mountainous side, so they were slight damage or moderate damage, but like not total. So what we aim to do is to have a multidisciplinary approach and see the economic impact, psychosocial impact, cultural impact, environmental impact, and other impacts. So we were 6 in the team. There was a professor of sociology, professor of psychology, an architect who was interested in the reconstruction process, a second year sociology student, and city planning master student, and myself as a statistician. And that time I was the director of the Disaster Management Center at METU. So I looked at more at the management perspective, and some findings, the striking observations, which we come up with is the no rotation was given to most of the personnel. There was a really strong backup from the disaster risk management experts from the national government based in Ankara. There was lack of coordination within the institutions like the NGOs, local government, national government, private sector. There was a really obvious lack of coordination. Aid, so lots of aid arrived but with no use. So that was another problem that we experienced and observed after the earthquake. The governor's office, the national government, could not reach the villages which have been damaged. So the municipalities from different provinces of Turkey, like from Istanbul, they went, or from Ankara, the metropolitans, they helped the villagers and villages. There was no cooperation between the national government and local government, and it is a city of immigrants because there are lots of different nationalities like Uzbekistan, Kurds, Iranians, Azerbaijani people. Many people with different cultural backgrounds lives and accommodates in the one. What was positive compared to the 1999? There was definitely better search and rescue operations because of the 1999 experience, equipment-wise and personal-wise. And there was the idea of the psychosocial support to the survivors, which was introduced to the Turkish disaster management system after the 1999. These are the basic findings and observations. We, from the Reconnaissance visit to the one city after the 2011 earthquake, and our motivation was to, as I said, have a multidisciplinary approach, collect some data, look at the background of the city before we travel there, um, collect information and collect data via the interviews and observations, visit to the different institutions, like we visited the AFAD Provincial Directorate. We talked to the community, we talked to the villagers, we talked to the Turkish Red Crescent teams for the psychosocial support, we talked to the community center people, how they respond to the needs of the community, we talked to the Turkish Catastrophe Insurance Pool TCIP people, how they responded to the claims. Again, it was a test for the TCIP as well. So we revisited some camps, how they were established, security purposes, like it is a multidisciplinary, multi-sectoral, multi-leg operation, so we wanted to observe as much as we could, and I'll be very happy to present you our findings in detail at the presentation. Thank you.